we have an action-packed episode of WoW Superheroes to talk about. We have tag team action with Spring Break 24/7 going up against the Last Call. And then we get to figure out why Vickie Lynn McCoy of the Fab Four attacked freaking the Beast. Why did she do it? How did she do it? Like, what were her motivations? This is Steph and Kat Talk Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home with the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. Every one of us, I was kinda late, so I just made it up the struggle bus. Walking by the faith, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't
Hey y'all, happy Monday and happy Hallows Eve. It is Halloween Eve and we are here live on this Monday for Steph and Kat Talk Wow. Of course, we are the best WoW Superheroes after show, giving you the lowdown on what happened this weekend on WoW Women of Wrestling Superheroes. Of course, I'm your girl Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, contributor for Daily DDT and color commentator for the Belladonna Division, Battle Club Pro, Black Girl Magic 2022, and Spartan Wrestling. But of course, I'm not alone. I am here with my tag team partner, the creator of NCAT We Trust, a super mom, contributing writer for Daily DDT as well, and a creator of the Women of Color in Wrestling panel, which can come at you live at whatever Comic-Con. You just never know which one she might turn up at next. She is Katrina Blake. How are you, Kat?
I am well. I love that intro. As always, it was giving me such a fantastic intro. I am well, a little tired, but it was a bit of a busy weekend for me. So a little tired, but I am happy to be here.
Absolutely. And this weekend was relatively chill for the most part when it comes to wrestling, because of course, usually sometimes, out of 2 weekends out of a month, you'll have like so much wrestling going on in a weekend. But this one was relatively chill. So WoW got to stand on its own, even though, of course, you did have AW Collision, thrown in there as well. You did have WoW this weekend. And it was a pretty good episode. And it was really amazing to watch, on a pretty chill Saturday for me. It came on late because, of course, Birmingham Legion, shout out to our soccer team, made it to the semifinals, but didn't quite make it to the finals of the tournament. But we do wish them all the best anyway. But it came on late for me, but regardless, it was still a fantastic episode. So I'm glad I was able to watch it. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this episode as a whole before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Pretty solid. Again, I always like that WoW. I know I say this like every week, but I always like that WoW always kind of change up who we see every week. And we've been saying we wanted to see the Beast back in action, and so we finally got to see her back in action, and so that is also fantastic. And just love to see the different, like, even with the first match, the different styles of tag teams that WoW has been producing as far as what we get out of a tag team, which I think is pretty awesome. So pretty solid episode this weekend.
Yes, it was solid, and definitely there was revenge on the mind of the beast, and that was a recurring theme throughout the entire episode. But as it turns out, revenge wasn't just on the mind of the beast, it was also on the mind of the mother truckers, Big Rig Betty and Holly Swag, as they wanted to go forth and fight with Las Bandidas and Sofia Lopez, the world's greatest attorney. So revenge was just the common theme. It was something that, of course, a lot of people, like to feed into, because of course, this weekend we've seen so many different cosplays and costumes. You've even had Megan Fox and her husband MGK dress up like Kill Bill. You've had you even think about classic horror movies like Carrie, like I mentioned last week, where people are just always getting revenge on people who have done them wrong. And this was definitely a recurring theme throughout this episode, and I really appreciated it, because how many times have we wanted to get back at someone who's just done us dirty, right? So this was all over this episode, and it was fantastic from a narrative standpoint. So of course, if you're watching live on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter or Twitch or wherever on YouTube, thank you for watching live. And of course, comment on whatever part of this episode of Why that you really loved, or just tell us something that you love about the show as a whole. And of course, you might wind up on screen. You just never know. But of course, just thank you for supporting us and thank you for watching. So the very first match that I was able to see was, of course, them showing everything that happened um, when it came to Las Bandidas and the mother truckers, and there was a stipulation that was put in place in that match, and it was the fact that if Sophia Lopez was going to come out there, she had to be handcuffed. And I heard that and I was just like, what do you mean she has to be handcuffed? And as it turns out, we did find out what that meant. But yeah, she had to be handcuffed. But before we get to that match, of course, we do have to get to the last call versus Spring Break 24/7. That's Crystal Waters and Sandy Shore. Now, of course, this is another match where you could sort of, feel that it was like completely uneven opponents, kind of like how last week when we were watching Jennifer Flores versus Chainsaw, it was kind of the same thing with the last call and Spring Break 24/7. Since we've seen Spring Break 24/7, in the tag scene, they seem very energetic and very peppy a lot of the time, and they have great athleticism, but they just can't seem to lock in, when it comes to getting the win. And it was just really sad because of course the last call are very dominant women, and so they kind of just played with Crystal Waters like she was a rag doll for like the first part of the match, and it was just really sad to see how much they were trying to fight out of it with their agility and with their quick moves. Because something that I do love that Crystal Waters and Sandy Shore both do in their matches, it's like they're not afraid of hitting flips or doing all kinds of hurricanranas on their opponents. But for every time they tried to hit a hurricanrana, they were always caught either mid-air or stopped mid-move and slammed down onto the mat. It was really frustrating. I was just like, God dang, these ladies just can't win for losing. And of course, Reina Del Rey, being the dominant woman that she is, coming in giving clotheslines and just being nasty to the opponents, talking smack and all of them. It just feels like whenever the last caller in there, it's almost like they don't really even fully take their opponents seriously, especially if they're smaller than them. So essentially, as the match went on, there was something that happened where Ben, the referee, there was something illegal that happened, and he kind of just watched it happen. And I was just like, so Ben, you're not going to step in and just break them up? Because I believe there was a moment where the last call didn't even tag each other in. I think Wrecking Ball just kind of just walked in, and just started beating up on the other two girls. And I'm just like, she didn't even tag in, and the ref just kind of let it happen. And it was just like, yo, what the heck is going on? But in the end, the last call wound up winning with their move, and they slammed, and of course, Reina Del Rey slammed Wrecking Ball on top of Sandy Shore, and they did a double cover for the 1, 2, 3. So the last call wound up winning. And then they cut a promo afterward stating that they wanted David McLean to give them an opportunity at the Tonga Twins because they were tired of smaller opponents and wanted to take on opponents that are more sturdy, just like them. And they want to go for those tag team titles that are held by Chaos and Kona. So yeah, they have championship intentions, and they aren't the only ones, but we're going to get to that later. So Katrina, how did you feel about this match and the performance and the dominance of the last call?
I wasn't surprised about the dominance, and it's not that, you know, you want to like root against Spring Break 24/7. It's not even that. It's just you can see like Wrecking Ball was already dominant by herself. Renadora was already dominant by herself. So you add two people who are also very dominant, kind of like bulldoze their way through things. And it's like, oh, okay, well, unfortunately, you guys really didn't have much of a chance. And it's kind of I understand because I felt like I said this a few weeks ago. with reference to there are some teams that are going to want to come after the Tonga twins because there are some ones that have been going through matches, that have been going through some of the opponents and WoW, and of course they're going to want the titles. That's like the next logical step is if you're like going through all these teams, well, what can I get out of going through all these teams? And so it makes sense to me. So I'm not surprised that they kind of put a call out there. And I will agree as far as being more sturdy. As far as the Tonga twins are not like tiny, dainty girls, they have some muscle on them. And so this, would probably be an interesting, match. We also said like as much as we like, appreciate the girls of Miami Sweet Heat, that we kind of needed to move away a little bit from Tonga Twins because we'd seen a lot of matches with them already. And so this is the perfect way to start them with some new feuds. Let's put another team that's also been pretty dominating every time they've pretty much won every match they've had as a team. So it's like, will they be a problem for the Tongas? I mean, possibly. Would it be easy for the Tongas to retain? Maybe not. I don't think they necessarily lose them, but this will probably give them a bit of a challenge. I do think that. And when you're going to like these type of no DQ kind of matches with Miami Sweet Heat, it's like you kind of have to realize with a team like them, you might have to kind of come off like hard. I feel like they're gonna if this match happens, they're gonna have to come out from the gate really hard, just because we already know what Wrecking Ball Reina can do. Um, so I'm okay with it. I'm okay with them moving with Tongas just because again we wanted a new feud for them. Um, but poor poor Spring Break 24/7. They had like no chance. It was just like, oh man, damn. Like, but you know what? I respect that they got in there and tried anyway. They tried, but I wasn't surprised honestly because they've been pretty much dominating every time they had a match, and this was just no different.
Yeah, they really do try, hard a lot of the time, no matter who they're facing. And you gotta love that, tenacity from them. But it just seems like when it comes to like, those high profile wins, they just can't lock them in and do them. And it's just so sad because, they try really hard. But in talking about, the tag team division, it's like we were talking about a few weeks ago how stacked that division is and how now it is great that we are seeing more rivalries and more tag teams step up to the Tonga twins now that their rivalry with Miami Sweet Heat is over and that we did kind of want to see a break from that. And it is really cool because I did, while I was live tweeting while watching the episode, I said that the last call and the Tonga twins in a match for the tag team titles would be a battle of immovable objects. Like these are women who are very, parallel in size and in strength. So I can only imagine, how much craziness we're going to see from the both of them. There will be so much power and so much strength from them that they'll probably have to reinforce that beautiful ring that they have. Like, I'm really excited, to see how they're going to challenge each other and, what it's going to take, for the Tongas to really dig deep and possibly retain those titles, or seeing the last call dig deep and try and win them from the Tonga twins. It would be pretty interesting and insane to see. But, the last call definitely has, the right to make that challenge because they did just beat Spring Break 24/7. And now here they are, asking for contendership. And they have earned it. So I am glad for them in that regard. But of course, I'm just excited about the match as a whole because these women are just so powerful. And I just can't wait to see how hard they hit each other. It's just going to be lit. So yeah, the last call, Reina Del Rey and Wrecking Ball wound up winning that match. So as we move into the second match, we had, of course, the spectacular and spirited Gloria Glitter going up against WoW OG Keta Rush. And this made me really happy because, of course, Gloria Glitter had such an impressive debut a few weeks ago against Candy Crush, where it was like you didn't expect someone, debuting to just have such an amazing, impression, in their first match, but she really did. And even though, it was a losing effort, she really popped off. And so, we get to see her again, and she faced off against Keta Rush, the Bully Buster, right? And really, I believe this is our first time seeing Keta Rush in the second season. So it was just really cool to see her, face off against Gloria Glitter. my babe is in the chat. Hey, sweetheart. Thank you for watching. Um, he loves Gloria Glitter. So yeah, like this match was fantastic per usual. Gloria was really, intense when it came to fighting against Keta Rush because, of course, Keta, loves to hit you with her kickboxing background as well as, her litany of drop kicks that she'll hit on you. But as you can see, Gloria Glitter is very, adept with her submissions as well as hitting a number of jawbreakers. Like the jawbreakers that she was hitting on her was low key like she was doing an exercise, like she was doing like squats or something, and she just kept hitting her jaw with it, and I was like, yo, that is crazy. And then you had Keta hit like a really impressive sling blade onto Gloria Glitter in this match as well, and it was just a really, solid second match, in this episode. And crazy enough, Gloria Glitter wound up winning the match with her finisher, which we now know as the Aerobics Annihilator. And it's a very, devastating looking DDT that we did see in her match versus Candy Crush. But of course, Candy, was on some really, focused stuff that day and she wound up winning that match. But in this regard, she hit the Aerobics Annihilator onto Keta Rush and wound up winning. So Gloria Glitter in her second match on WoW wound up winning against WoW OG Keta Rush. But this did not make Keta Rush, sad or upset in any way, shape, or form. She was very persistent because she also cut a promo. There's that impressive sling blade I was talking about earlier in that picture. It's a really good picture. But Keta Rush got on the microphone and talked about how she, as a bully buster, wants to inspire other people to rise above hate and rise above, any issues that might stand in their way, whether it be from others or from themselves. And she said that she wants to work up, to challenge Princess Aussie for the WoW World Championship. Like she wants to challenge her. And I was just like, yo, that's crazy. That made me happy because I have wanted, like I've sort of been fantasy booking in my mind all the matches that Princess Aussie could have now that she's the champion. And we haven't really seen her a whole lot. And I know that I have to keep that same energy because I used to come down on Penelope Pink really hard whenever she was champion and we didn't see her. And sometimes, we really don't be seeing Princess Aussie a whole lot like that ever since she won. So I'm just like, yo, Princess Aussie, where you at? We need to see you fighting these people, right? Be the fighting champion. Because that's just my preference in wrestling. Like I just love to see my champions fight. I just like that. So I want to see Princess Aussie, somebody who I love and cherish so much, fight the best that WoW has to offer. And Keta Rush is definitely one of those people. Like she is a great unstoppable force when it comes to WoW. Like I said, she's an OG. Like she really deserves that type of opportunity. But of course, she's gonna have to work her way up to that because like we mentioned, she lost this match against Gloria Glitter, who is a newcomer, right? So she's definitely going to have to try harder for that. But I am believing that Keta Rush can do it. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this match and Keta Rush and what she had to say after her losing effort against Gloria Glitter?
I will say that, I respect that Keta decided that she wants to go for the title. I'm not sure why she didn't want to do this with Penelope, and why it was never brought up that she wanted to wrestle Penelope. I don't know how I feel about necessarily waiting until Princess Aussie to make a challenge. But I do like that she's trying to go for the title. I'm always curious, as with some of the women, like what are your goals? Like as far as do you want a title? Do you just want to have amazing matches? Do you want to just beat up everybody and like go through a bunch of people? And so it's kind of nice to say that she want that. With that being said, we haven't seen her in a while, and so it's kind of like I feel like this is one of those matches where it's kind of like a weird like, while you don't want Gloria to lose because she lost her debut, you don't want Keta necessarily to lose either because we haven't seen her in a while. And so, unfortunately, with matches when you're trying to figure out who to kind of root for here, only one person can win. This is not like they were tagging together or something. This is a one-on-one match, and so it's like unfortunate because it's like, oh man, I haven't seen you in a while, Keta, and then you lose this match. But also Gloria, who was again very impressive, even though she didn't win her debut match, it was nice to see her win. It was nice for her. You can't. I feel like you can't have a debut like that and then lose that debut and then lose again. I feel like that would have been, not the wisest decision or not, kind of detrimental to her, debuting in WoW, per se. And so I thought it was a good match, and I thought that, while Keta definitely showed why she's an OG, and she did that in several moments throughout the match, Gloria is just doing her thing, and I like her. I like her look. I like this the whole energy. Even though she's kind of has this whole like happy 80s fitness instructor vibes, she also can be pretty devastating in regards to the moves she does. And I like that. It's like a kind of like a mixed, like, oh, you look like super nice, but no, probably she probably kick your ass too. It's kind of like that vibe. And so I like that actually. And so, and I like Keita Rush as well, but I think this is a needed win for Gloria just because she lost against Candy Crush in her debut. So you don't want her to lose twice if she's kind of being introduced to the WoW fans. You want to keep her in mind's eye for the fans. Like people trying to like, well, let's see what Gloria can do. So I thought it was a good match, but and like I said, I understand. Like part of me said, oh, Keto, you lost, and we haven't seen you in a little bit. But also, I think Gloria needed to win. So I'm looking forward to see what Gloria does, but also to see what Keta Rush is going to do to make her way to the route of winning a championship match.
Yeah, like Gloria, you are right in the idea that you don't want either one of them to lose because it's just like I said, this was our first time seeing Keita Rush this season, period. Like since this season has started, it's our first time seeing her. And it's just you want her, as a WoW OG, to stand on her own 2 feet and be, the OG that we know that she can be and stuff. But at the same time, you have Gloria Glitter, who had such an impressive performance even in losing to Candy Crush, that you want her star to continue to rise. So it was just kind of like, a meeting of two, you know, rock. You're kind of like in a rock and a hard place. Just like what's gonna happen here? Like what's gonna happen? And as it turns out, Gloria Glitter wound up getting the win. And you could argue that she needed the win the most because she has the most to prove because she just got there, but then you have Keta, who never is really hurt in a loss because of the idea that she's, very established when it comes to WoW. So I think that she is more than likely the main one to bounce back from a loss than a Gloria Glitter would in this situation. Because can you imagine, how that would devastate Gloria if she were to lose twice after debuting? Like that would be weird. Like I'm pretty sure that would make her feel some type of way. But yeah, like she's very calculated and she's vicious, even though she has like the whole Lisa Frank thing going on for her. Like she's just amazing, and I just can't wait to see how much she grows as WoW continues to go on this season. But I am excited for Keita Rush, making her pronouncements for wanting to be a contender for the WoW World title, because of course when you're the champion, you got a target on your back, and everybody, is gunning for Princess Aussie. And kind of like the same way we were talking about how we didn't want to see, Miami Sweet Heat gunning for the Tonga twins all the time, you also have to sort of say that you just don't want to see Penelope Pink going for Princess Aussie all the time. And it is great to see more people actually, challenging Princess Aussie at this juncture. And I'm glad that Keita Rush is one of them. So yeah, because it feels like a lot of the time our older WoW superstars like her and like Steffi Slade sort of get lost in the shuffle for all the newer people, and it is good to see them thrust themselves back into major stories like that. So I am happy, but Gloria Glitter came out with the win here. So yeah, big ups to her. The next match, of course, was with it was a tag team match here. Again with the Mother Truckers, Big Rig Betty and Holly Swag, going up against Las Bandidas, accompanied by Sophia Lopez, the world's greatest attorney, who keeps passing out business cards because she really does believe in building up that clientele, and I can't really blame her. So, big ups to her for that. But in this match, she had to be handcuffed to the ropes because David McClain is tired, okay? That is something that I also gleaned from this episode, is the fact that David McClain is tired of these managers interfering in these matches and not making this stuff fair. And when it comes to Sophia Lopez and Lana Starr, even last weekend and even this weekend too, he was not about the shenanigans. Like he was just like, look, y'all, I'm tired of y'all interfering in these matches. I'm tired of y'all making stuff unfair for all these other women. Y'all need to learn y'all lesson. And I love that for him. I love that for him. So Sophia was handcuffed to the ropes, and she had to and she basically had to just watch Las Bandidas fight the mother truckers in a very, very fair match, I will say. It's interesting how all this time, you know, we've watched these women go back and forth so many times, over the course of the last couple of weeks. And they've had good matches, but it felt like this one was really like the best one where they were operating on, a whole nother level in terms of their tag team work. And they were more vicious with each other because, as you can see in this picture, you see Sylvia Sanchez snatching off one of Holly Swags' like eyelashes. That was really rough for me because it's just like I don't wear eyelashes, but I know people who do. So I know how expensive it is, when you either get them done or you get them put on like from the store or something. So just watching her eyelashes get ripped off, it just seems like a very spiteful thing to do. Like, don't do that, y'all. But either way, like they just got really spiteful with each other. But of course, the mother truckers are angry because it's because of Sophia and Las Bandidas. They had to go to jail twice. They're sick of it. So they were really ready to fight. And as you can see here, Holly Swag was acting like the wrecking ball that she knows that she can be, to Vivian Rivera a lot of the time. Like, Sylvia actually locked in an STF onto one of the mother truckers in the match. Like, she was just being impressive with her submission work. And Vivian was being vicious too in the match as well. But these women were just giving each other the business throughout the rest of the match. But either way, the mother truckers wound up winning, and this made me so happy because I'm just like, yes, y'all finally got your comeuppance on Las Bandidas and the women who are responsible or partly responsible for y'all having to go to jail again. So honk honk to that. The mother truckers wound up beating Las Bandidas, and Sophia just had no choice but to watch. So yeah, that was fun. So Katrina, how did you feel about this match and just the evolution of their rivalry and where we're at right now that the mother truckers can possibly put Las Bandidas behind them?
I feel like with the fact that Sofia Lopez was handcuffed and the fact that the Mother Truckers did win, that this should be the end of the feud. Just because, Sofia wasn't allowed to be involved. And considering everything she did do with regards to them over the weeks, it makes sense that they finally got a win, got one fairly with there was like no shenanigans or nothing happening. And I will say this is a pretty even match, honestly. I think both teams had moments that they both really shined, but I feel like what else can you do now with with this feud? I feel like they got arrested, they went to jail, they got out of jail. It was all this stuff. I feel like after all of this and all the shenanigans involved with Las Bandidas and Sofia Lopez in particular, because Sofia Lopez seems to have her hand in like a lot of stuff, it seems. I feel like there's really where else can you go after this? So I personally think the feud should be done. But wrestling's wrestling and feuds always come back surprisingly, so we'll see. But I think this was a really solid match. And it both teams obviously work well. You have two people under Sofia Lopez and you have a mother and daughter team, and they both worked well. So I think this is a solid match. But I do feel after this the feud should be done. I feel like I just don't know where else you can go after this. I feel like you don't wanna, as the saying go, beat a dead horse. You don't wanna like, even if it comes back up, like, later on, it shouldn't be right away. If we see this, revisit this feud, I just feel like they've been kind of the last few months, they've been kind of feuding. And so I think with, the mother truckers winning this, it's like, where else can you go from here? They got the win finally, and there was no type of interference. So that means that they probably could have beaten them previously if Sophia wasn't doing what she was doing. But like, they got this fair and square with no interference, with no shenanigans, and it just was kind of fair down the middle. And I feel like that they should be happy about that, and then see what they can go off going forward. I don't know if they have any tag team title aspirations either. But I kind of curious, like, what would, as a mother and daughter team, being some tag, being like, how would that even play again? There's a lot of tag teams we do know of, and wow, so solid match. But I do think after this, the feud really should be over.
I do agree with that. Because like you said, like how much farther can they go with it? Like I do agree with that. In terms of, that feud just being done and over with because they have been fighting a whole lot. So that should be over with. But I am um here for the mother truckers challenging for the tag titles as well. Even though you have the last call there, like I just feel like if there was a triple threat tag team match for the titles between the Tongas and the mother truckers and the last call, I would definitely be here for it because the mother truckers, they've been fighting in these tag team, feuds that you could argue that's been sort of mid card and not really like for the main title for so long that you could argue that they deserve an opportunity. They fought the disciplinarian in GI Gene. They fought, so many other tag teams that have happened and taken place in these past 2 seasons on WoW. So for argument's sake, they could, have more of a claim for the tag titles than the last call could, arguably, but at the same time, you have all these people, gunning for the champions here again because they have targets on their backs. So there's so much that could happen with that, but I wouldn't mind seeing a triple threat situation, for the tag titles. So the mother truckers definitely do deserve that. Holly and Betty have that X factor in the fact that they know each other as mother and daughter. Like that's a very, deep familial tie. And when you know each other so well, in ring and you work together well as a tag team in that way, that could be an interesting combination when you're going up against a team of twin sisters at that. And then you're going up against another team of people who aren't related, but yet are still just as, kismet together. So it's just kind of like, that would just be insane. And I'm definitely here for it. So maybe there'll be a triple threat situation. Who knows? But I do wonder what Las Bandidas is going to do at this point. Like, who are they going to beef with now? Because, yeah, like I just wonder how that's gonna work. But yeah,
Yeah.
I am glad that the mother truckers won and got their revenge. So yeah, big ups to Big Rig Betty and Holly Swag. Excuse me, for getting their just desserts. So before we move on to the main event, there was an announcement, I believe, that was made. Well, actually, yeah, there was an announcement that was made because we are getting a WoW World Championship match between Princess Aussie, who we previously mentioned, and Tormenta. Now, of course, Princess Aussie did fight Tormenta and Penelope Pink in that triple threat match for the WoW World title, in which she did win that title and she pinned Tormenta. She didn't pin Penelope Pink, but of course, she has defeated Penelope Pink in a rematch. So now she's going to fight Tormenta again next weekend or this coming weekend. So I am excited to see that. So that was really the only announcement that they did make in terms of what's going to happen or what we have in store for, I guess, the main event this weekend. But I am really excited to see that pop off because those two women can go. And they have gone really hard before because the first time we saw them fight last season, it was probably one of the best matches that they've ever had on WoW. So I am really excited for a newly refocused and championship gold holding Princess Aussie to go up against a Tormenta who is just mad hungry because she's had multiple opportunities at the title and yet just keeps losing. Like, oh my God, I know she has a million chips on her shoulder. But yeah, I'm really excited for that match this coming weekend on WoW. So, moving into what's leading into the main event, Nigel Zane, the correspondent of WoW, had an interview with Vickie Lynn McCoy about so he can get some answers as to why she attacked the beast. And the reason she gave was really weak to me. It was not what I expected her to say at all. Because Vickie basically told him that she did it because she wanted to be the most dominant force in WoW and she just had to get rid of her. And then after that, she just sort of stormed off and snatched the microphone away and just left Nigel just sitting there. And I was just like, God dang, that was really quick, it was, quick and to the point, but it made me kind of upset because I'm just sitting here like, I feel like there was more of a reason for why you attack the beast that you're not letting into. Like narratively, it just doesn't make sense for that to be the only reason why you attack the beast. Because it's like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. If Vickie had not attacked the beast the way that she did, Penelope Pink would not have been champion. She would not have won. And there would not have been a gauntlet at Los Angeles Comic Con that we, witnessed ourselves. And the championship wouldn't have been vacant because the beast would have still been champion and she would have still been fighting. But since Vickie attacked her, that just set all of this into motion of Penelope Pink being champion for as long as she was, and as well as Miami Sweet Heat winning the titles that they had, and they had all the gold. So I really want her to admit that, look, either you wanted to sort of set all of this into motion for the Fab Four, or that Lana Star put you up to it so all of this could get into motion for the Fab Four. Just say that and be real with yourself and not just lie to us and just say you wanted to be the most dominant force in WoW. Because, ma'am, you are not the only imposing woman there. There's you, there's the Tonga twins, there's Reina Del Rey, there's Wrecking Ball, and they're in a tag team. Like the last two people I mentioned are in tag teams. You have Chainsaw there, you have Holiday there. Like you have all of these women. You even have G.I. Jane. That's like 8 women that I've mentioned now who are like forces as well. So why is the beast the only one that you're running after? If that's the case, you should have been attacking the whole locker room. You really should have been attacking the whole locker room if you wanted to be the only dominant force. So I'm gonna need for her to come up with a better reason than that. Like, even though you could argue and say, well, maybe that reason is the reason. No, no, no. I'm never satisfied with that. Like, I'm never satisfied with the Fab Four anyway, but that reason was just a cop out to me. I was like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. That is not the only reason you attack them. I'm going to need for you to be real with us, be real with Nigel, be real with everybody else, and tell us the deeper machinations of your mind, okay, and why you attacked her. Like, and we all know what it is. It's because you wanted Fab Four supremacy. Just say that. It's okay. It's okay. But Katrina, how did you feel about hearing that reason? And was it enough for you? Because it wasn't enough for me.
No, that sounded like nonsense. That really did. I'm sorry. Like, if you're gonna do all of that for somebody like the Beast, knowing that there should have been some kind of repercussions, and you just like whatever, like I feel like that's not a reason. That doesn't even like. Let me clarify. Not that it wasn't. It's just not a one that makes sense to me. Just like if you're gonna do all of that, clearly, I think I've said this before, as you mentioned. I don't know if Penelope would have been champion if if the Beast didn't get injured and didn't come back when she was supposed to come back. We won't know what we got at that LA Comic Con match. It could have been very different. And so, or if we had that at all, honestly. And so, there's no way you just to have that, like, yeah, well, I don't know. It just seemed a bit dismissive. Like she just didn't really want to say what it really was. And I'm just like, ma'am, like, why you don't even need to lie. It's one of those. It's like I forgot that the Vita's like, you don't need to lie. Like, you don't need to do all that. It's so unnecessary. You don't need to do all that. You could have just said this is what it was. But I think like if you're gonna say all of that and we're thinking we're gonna get like some scoop, and not necessarily I don't want to use the word scoop, but like we're gonna find a reason that was not a good one. Personally, I didn't think it was a good reason. So what happens afterwards, she had it coming. I feel like I feel like this is just everything you had it coming for all of this. Truly. It's like you can't do that, have that really bogus reason and then think everything's supposed to be fine and dandy.
Right. Like it just wasn't enough for me. I was just sitting there and I saw her say that to him and then storm off. I was like, girl, now that is not the only reason why you did that. So I'm gonna need for you to like try again. Like try again. Even though I know she probably isn't gonna be in the mood to have like a whole sit down, I feel like eventually we gonna hear the real reason why. And even if we don't hear it from her, we might hear it from the fabulous Lana Star anyway, because she's the mastermind behind everything anyway. So I'm more than sure we're going to hear it from somebody. But that just wasn't good enough for me. It just wasn't good enough. But also, I want to point out something before we get to the main event. I know that we love WoW for everything that it represents in terms of it being an all women's athletes show. And yes, we have enjoyed the show like in the previous season where AJ Mendez was on commentary, and then of course you have Lauren Hunkley, who is the ring announcer. Um but this season now, of course, on commentary you have Stephen Dickey and you have David McLean, who is the co-owner of WoW, and you have Nigel Zane, who is a guest correspondent. And we love them for everything that they do and for everything that they give to WoW all the time. Like, we love it so very much and we respect them so very much. With that being said, I want to see more women on the show doing the intellectual work. I I can't be myself and who I am if I don't ever mention the things that, jump out to me when it comes to watching wrestling shows and how it comes to representation. And something that I do want to see more of when it comes to WoW is seeing more women representation when it comes to the intellectual side of things, like how we see Nigel Zane. I feel like there should be at least one or maybe two women who are also doing backstage interviews or doing the exclusive interviews like he did with the Tonga Twins after they won the tag team titles. And of course, another female presence on commentary, even though they've had some of the superstars and of course some of the managers on commentary as well, like Sophia Lopez, like Lana. Like, I want something a little bit more consistent with that form of representation. And I don't want it to come off as me being mean or being malicious in that way, but I just want more of that representation, not just from the athletes in terms of the women, but just also, as a whole, when it comes to more representation for the commentary, for the interviewing, and also even more so for the refereeing too, because there is one female referee in Paige Principali, and we love her too. But I just want more female representation across the board because this is an all women's promotion. So there should be all women across the board, with that. So I just wanted to address that and just say that here. Because this is our place and I just felt like I just needed to say it. So yeah. Kat, if you want to, chime in, you can feel free to do that now.
No, I agree. Like, I do love that we have a whole all women's promotion, and Marie in particular, just because of what's been going on in the wrestling industry, with all women's promotions and people not necessarily doing the best with how they handle women talent. I do love that WoW has that option. Um, but I will agree that there are already like so few women as it is doing the backstage stuff or the behind the scenes stuff. And so I do think it's kind of imperative just to have some more women back there. And this is no shade to the men, but this is a male, unfortunately. Not like bad, but it's a male dominated, industry, unfortunately. And so it's a lot harder for women in general to kind of get in, in there. And so if you have the options to have somebody in a commentary, especially with AJ Mendez being gone, or have the opportunity for an interview segment or whatever the case may be, I do think they should have more women, just because it's a woman's promotion. Like, really put that on the forefront in all aspects, that it's an all women's promotion. There's a promotion I work for that actually do that with everybody on the women's promotion, everybody's women. So it's like referees are women, commentary teams women, ring announcing interviews all women, and including the wrestlers. And I think that's actually just so cool that it's very clear. Like, even the referees for this show is going to be the women referees. We're not going to have men do this. We're not going to have men do that. Let the women do their thing for that. And I appreciated that. And so I do think I love what they do, but I do think we should have some more women just backstage and letting them do the background stuff, the back end things.
Absolutely. And of course, this comes from a place of love because y'all know we love this show and we have loved on this show, multiple times. So we just want to see wrestling and women's wrestling grow for the better because it's been pretty tumultuous over these past couple of months and weeks. But at the same time, we only want to see it grow for the positive and, and to see other women get great opportunities in this way in wrestling because like Katrina said, it's a very male dominated sport. So anytime any woman can get an opportunity to do something or fill a space where so many, men have filled for constantly, so many times, it's always a good thing. So we just want to see it grow for the better in all things, not, not just for us, but for every woman, period. So we get to our main event, which was the Beast versus Vickie Lynn McCoy in the revenge match. And of course, Vickie Lynn McCoy made her entrance with Lana Starr, who came out, and I was low key sad that David sent Lana Starr back and away because her abs were abbing, and I'm just like, ma'am, yo, like, what's the routine? Like, how are you doing this? Like, your body is amazing. Like, Miss Lana is amazing. Like, her body is just fantastic. Her abs are fantastic. But, like I said, David McClain is laying down the law, and he was just like, look, for this to be a fair match, I'm telling you the same thing I told Sophia. You have to go to the back. You gotta leave. And Vickie was mad about it. She was like piping hot mad about it. But whatever, the match happened and the Beast ran out there. She didn't even do her entrance. Like, she was ready to go. She was on 10 and she ran out there and started brawling with Vickie Lynn McCoy for maybe about the first 10 minutes of this match. She did not let up on Vickie Lynn McCoy, and I love that. She just kept going. She kept wailing on her, beating up on her, kicking on her, and everything. Like, it was so bad that Vickie low-key just had to roll out of the ring and just try to escape. She threw her into the barricade. Like, it was just going crazy. And then Vickie, even in the moments where Vickie seemed like she was trying to fight back, it still didn't help because the Beast was just all over her. And they never got back in the ring. So therefore, it was like a double count out. It was a double count out, so therefore the match came to a no contest. But did that stop these women from fighting each other? Absolutely not. They kept fighting and kept brawling until all the referees had to come out and pull them apart. And that is how the episode ended. That's how it ended. It ended with a brawl. Hilarious, but amazing at the same time. So I know that this definitely is not over. The Beast and Vickie are going to probably continue to destroy each other until Kingdom Come. I'm hoping that they get put in a cage match. I'm just hoping for a cage match. Like, WoW needs a cage match. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this main event and the fact that it went to no contest? And how farther do you think these women are gonna take this?
I wasn't surprised that it didn't even kind of get started. We knew the Beast was upset. You know, it was obvious when she first came back that she was upset about everything that happened. It was even more obvious that when she found out who did it, that she was upset. And so I didn't expect her to wait. I didn't expect her to have an entrance. She probably just wanted to get her hands. It's like when they say you just get all the hands are like rated E for everybody. That was the vibes that was happening. She was just putting everything, hands, feet, whatever she could get in. That's what she was doing, and I understood it because personally, I'd probably do the same. If I was wrestling, if you mess up my return, I'm gonna do the same. And so I totally understood it. I definitely think because there wasn't an actual decision because the match technically really didn't get really get going the way it could have because it kind of was just a brawl. And again, if you think of like having yourself come back and then having to lose the title in that matter, and then you come back and you're like, oh, I'm coming back, and somebody's like, yeah, no, not coming back. You'll be a little upset about that too. I feel like her response was a very valid response, honestly. I do think Vickie, especially with the nonsense excuse she gave, I feel like that was deserved. And I definitely don't think that it's over. I feel like obviously there has to be a match where there's a decision, but I do feel like just like with Miami Sweet Heat and the Tongas, you have to have a match that's kind of letting it all just let it be what it is. It has to be kind of all out. It has to be over the top. Whatever you need to do to get whatever feeling out, it can't be a regular match. It has to be some kind of stipulation, I feel. And so I was fine with it. I wasn't surprised because I feel like Vickie definitely deserved this after what she did. But I am definitely looking forward to see what the Beast do next because she was really on her. She didn't let up, and I respect that like so much, like just not letting up on her in any capacity.
Like, I kid you not. I actually tweeted whoop that trick. Like, it's just a universal chant. Like, you just gotta whoop that trick. And that's the energy I had. Because I was just like, you know what, the Beast? I understand, Beast. Go get her, beat her behind, and just let her know. Because the fact that Vickie just stole a whole year of her career like that, no. And I'm just really hoping that these women can fight in a cage. Like, I am not stopping. I hope the budget is there, whether it's like the second half of this season or like next season. The budget has to be there for a WoW cage. It has to be. It has to be. I've seen older clips of things. Like, I know that there is a possibility there could be a cage somehow. So if these two women, if the Beast and Vickie Lynn McCoy can be put in a cage somehow, make it happen. I don't care what color it is. I don't care if it has to be silver, if it has to be pink, if it has to be purple. I don't care. Just put them in a wild cage. I'm here for it. Like, I just want to see these women destroy each other. Or more specifically, the Beast destroy Vickie because, yo, you were wrong for that. So I'm excited. The way that the episode ended definitely gives off the impression that we're going to see more of them fighting each other, but I'm definitely here for it. So it was a fire way to end this episode. I loved it. So, of course, we've reached the end of our time together talking about the show. But of course, if you love the action of WoW superheroes, please go on wowe.com and check out what your local listings are for WoW so you can get those ratings up, because we want this women's show to be, in contention for really high ratings the same way all the other wrestling shows are. So please, continue to support the show in that way if you want to watch it on your cable provider, or you can watch it on Pluto TV, or you can watch it on YouTube on their YouTube channel and subscribe to their channel. It's called WoW Superheroes. So please find them on YouTube, subscribe to their channel, and they usually put full episodes up on there, before the week is out. So watch it there, and also just live tweet, talk about the show, and talk about who your favorite WoW superheroes are. They're really nice, and if you find them all on Twitter or on Instagram, they will, they connect to you. And they love it when people post about them. So please, support them and love on them in that way, because these women are amazing and we just want to see them, thrive and pop off in a really big way when it comes to women's wrestling. Like, so many of the women, like we talked about last week, ranked in the PWI Women's 250, and they're just doing big things, and we just only wanted to get bigger. And of course, after you watch every episode of WoW Superheroes every weekend, you could come watch our show every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, unless otherwise announced, on Hardy Wrestling Podcast and in Cat We Trust platforms. And you can watch every episode that we've done for season 2, on our playlist and stuff. And we're going to keep giving you the vibes when it comes to WoW Superheroes, because we love women's wrestling here. So, of course, Katrina, thank you so much for joining me on this Hallows Eve. And just tell everybody where they can find and follow you and what you've got going on.
You can find and follow me on Cat We Trust, my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I appreciate it. And on social media on Cat We Trust, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, and Twitter, the E's of 3. I'm kind of been a little bit hectic, but I'm starting to go back to my wrestling shows in November. And so I will be kind of busy. So if you're in the Jersey area or the Long Island area, please come check me out. I will probably be doing commentary and ring announcing. I believe this Saturday I'm doing both, actually. So I'm going to be double dutying it. I'm ring announcing and doing commentary. A little stressed about it, but just because it's a lot. But I know I got this. But so if you're in Jersey, definitely come check that out. It'll be super awesome to meet you if you are in the area. And just basically, random stuff. Spooktober is over. It's gonna be November in 2 days. Sad face. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. But I will have some more interviews happening and on the channel and some more other awesome things. I'm doing some collabs with some people, and so it should be a good time. So catch me there.
Awesome sauce. And she always has a lot going on. And also, look at all of her work on dailyddt.com. She's an amazing writer. So if you have not gone on Daily DDT and looked up her articles, please look them up because they're great. And of course, if you want to find and follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, you can find and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at Queen Steph Hardy. And listen to my show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, everywhere you get your podcasts. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is The Hardy Wrestling Podcast with the pink, purple, and blue logo with HWP in the middle. And of course, you can check out my work on Daily DDT as well. I have a new article that came out today on Mandy Rose and how WWE should push for her return. Whether you agree with it or not, read the article because I put my whole foot into it and I hope you guys like it because either way, I love the work that I've been doing with Daily DDT. I'm excited about writing a whole lot more and I wrote a lot this month. So read all of my articles. I've written all about women this month and it's just been amazing to do in the midst of everything that's been going on. But this week I'm taking a break. I'm not writing about anything, even though I'm trying my best, to hold myself to that because sometimes when you love something so much, you want to do it all the time. But I really do need to give myself a break. But please check it out on dailyddt.com. Just type in the name Stephanie Hardy and you'll see every article that I've written so far. And yeah, just be on the lookout for anything else that I might have going on because it could be anything. It could be a new episode. It could be an extra episode. You might catch me in a city somewhere. You just never know. But just be on the lookout and you'll always be in the know if you follow me. So, of course, this has been Steph and Kat Talk Wow on the networks of In Cat We Trust and the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. And of course, until next time, have a great Halloween, y'all. Bye.